Hello. Hello. I'm your host, Biggie Smokington the Third, also known as Biggie Smoke on Xbox, and we are here now, live in HRL for the very final round of this season that has been dramatic as all hell. Season 4, a season that's been a season of twists and turns, multiple race winners, crazy battles, and now it all comes down to this. Round 14 in the desert under the floodlights in Abu Dhabi. Two drivers can win the Drivers' Championship and 3 teams can win the Constructors' Championship, as these battles are ready to happen at any point. So, obviously, the Constructors, Aston Martin, 260 points, but 2 frets behind them, and that is 258 points of Red Bull and 258 points of Ferrari. Those 3, that's going to be decided today. Who will be the Constructors' Champion? And another thing, the Drivers' Championship. Michelle Lowe, 3-time HRL champion, going for his 4th right here, leads the championship by a 15-point gap, 189 points going into this final round. As for the guy that's behind him, the guy that's gone through a lot of hardship in this one, had to miss a lot of races here because of that, his work break is here now, and this time with a chance for victory. 174 points. Vic Wick is P2. Alfie's championship unfortunately ended last round in Coda. So, this is it. The moment we have all been waiting for. We're coming here to qualifying. 18 minutes from the race that will decide the future of UFall. This is an important one for all the drivers, and I hope they're all ready, because we have some excitement on the way. And here we are now on the track. It's a nice night here in Abu Dhabi. We've got 15 drivers showing up for this one, and all the championship players are here. So the question is, who's going to come out in front? Who's going to be able to do what needs to be done to put this championship together? I hope you all are excited, because I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. As right now we have a car coming out that's going to be Richard Wick coming out in the AlphaTauri, one of the new drivers, I think, signed for this race. I don't remember seeing him in any previous one. So he's going to be something to watch for as this competition gets underway. There's a bunch more drivers to watch out for, too. So that's a thing to consider now. I think we have a Ferrari coming out, too, and I think that's a Red Bull both coming out of the pits. A couple more cars following suit. And this is going to be a fun one. That's all I can say. I have a guarantee that we are going to see some action here. It's going to be desperation. This race, 29 laps, has been on the F1 calendar since 2010 and has been basically an ending race since, I want to say, 2013. 2013, it's been the ending race of the season. And so it's an important one, because especially for close championships like we've had, and with it being a final race in HRL, it is going to be that title decider. Who's going to come out in front? Who's going to do what needs to be done? Who's going to win under the floodlights here in Abu Dhabi? The first laps will be coming in soon. Richard Wick about to come across the line now. Driving for AlphaTauri. Of course, that's not one team championship. However, it is still a team that could benefit from a good finish. Anyone can benefit. Because for the most part, the championship has remained pretty damn close between all teams. At least in terms of like little brackets, we've had like 2 or 3 teams together at all times in just little sections. So a good finish could help a team gain a position or get themselves into a spot to overtake the team behind them, or ahead of them, I should say. Time will tell. We've got a race on our hands. Teo on the lap. Now we're going to see what the Ferrari can do. Coming down now through the long straight, one of the first long straights. You got 2 of them on the track. The second one is technically a slight left-handed turn. However, it is still a fun one to watch. And of course, 2 big DRS zones. These are the only 2 DRS zones. No taking opportunity here for the cars behind to really try and make that overtake, make a big impact here on the car in front, especially in a battle where you're going behind. You could make the overtake here. Tenths can be gained. The first DRS zone, under the right conditions, you can probably gain about 6 tenths. On the second one, maybe about 5 tenths. And Richard Wick going to bring home a 122.74. But the thing about this league is guys are very good with their ERS. A lot of them have decent ERS management, and so it is going to be a battle of who's going to be the better driver, or who's going to make that first mistake. Because that first mistake can be a big difference. As Teo coming across the line, 122.05. Those are mistakes there that people can make. They're gonna add up in a league like this. You really cannot afford to make a mistake because the racing will be close, and the drivers are gonna have to do whatever they can to try and stay ahead and stay in a position to fight for this. Aston Martin looked like they were going to run away with the teams championship a few races ago. However, after, of course, the departure of Vic Wick and Alfio Free Jones coming across the line, fastest lap, 121.915. Aston Martin, unfortunately, loses out on that. There's a few more laps that just come in. Jacob, Richard, Solomon, S. Crisp had just came in. But basically, the thing to mention is, since the departure of Vic Wick, the team did kind of lose its momentum. And MKKR, he's no slouch, but he hasn't had the greatest performance. He hasn't put together the greatest performances recently, and that has put Aston Martin into that you could say threatened position now, where their constructors is very much in a bad spot. They're still leading by 2 points at 260. However, they have 2 teams that are exactly 2 points behind them in Ferrari and Red Bull. And so this can all be decided today. This is a very close championship between the 3. So the question is, so really, the team's championship is probably to watch out for a lot here in this one. Now, of course, another thing to watch too is the drivers' championship between Vic Wick and Michello. 15 points between the 2 of them. And 29 laps to settle that out. The difference there, though, is that Michello has a decent bit of a forwarding range. In the end, if Vic Wick is to finish first with a fastest lap point, then Michello needs to still finish 5th or lower. Without a fastest lap point, I think Michello needs to finish 6th or lower, since Michello does, I think, have more wins than Vic Wick. Now, if Vic Wick is to finish 2nd, then we're talking another equation. Because now Michello needs to finish well, for 15 points, that means Michello needs to finish 9th or lower. And if Vic Wick gets 1st, 3rd, he better have a fastest lap point. Otherwise, Michello is basically guaranteed the championship, regardless if he doesn't finish in the points. So for Vic, Michello needs to have a terrible drive, and he needs to have a great drive. The only thing he can afford to do is get 1st place here. He cannot afford to leave this race in the hands of the other drivers. He needs to get the hammer down. He needs to get off quick, and he needs to hope Michello has an absolute stinker of a race. As for Michello, he needs to drive a clean race. Keep out of incidents, keep out of the way, and just drive a good, clean race. Don't have to overpace yourself. Just put yourself in the position where you can stay near the front and keep yourself nice and clean, keep yourself out of the dirt, and you should be able to theoretically put yourself in that spot to get an easy fourth championship. Again, it's racing. Anything can happen. And there's no doubting any possibility here in a season like this. It's been a season of twists and turns. No one thought Vic would have been able to come back into the championship, but he did. He managed to show up back here. Just be off of course, everyone having bad races, some having good races, some having bad races. That constant back and forth action there brought Vic into the forefront of this battle, and has now kept him here for the final round. For Michello, he really has to work for this championship now. Compared to his third championship, which he won a few rounds early, this is one he's had to work for. He's had to put down everything he can, and sometimes he's had to settle not for the race win, but he's had to settle for a third, a fourth, or whatever. And that's going to be P7 there, that quality time for Michello. So he'll definitely be looking to make an improvement there, as I don't think that's going to put him in any threat range. How good is Vic here? That is another question I ask. Where is he going to quality? Because ideally, you want to be quality as high as possible. Set yourself up in that front row. Ultimately, if an incident happens in D1, which is fairly common here in Abu Dhabi, you can get out of the way by getting off. Now, 9 minutes left on the clock. We've gone through half of this qualifying session already, and I've given you guys a nice rundown of the championship and how it's gotten to this picture. Now, what is Vic going to be able to do? He's got both Alpha cars, actually. One in front and one behind, but he's far enough away from both of them to not be in the way. And now this is going to be the lap time. So 1:21.915 the time to beat, coming through the final two corners. And he's definitely way off there. And I think he's going to have to a little off there. That's going to be first place for Vic with 122 on the dot. That's going to be enough to get him into P3. It is higher than Michello, which is initially where he would want to be. However, he's still looking there to get out to Richard Wick, who improved to 1:21.918, and Alfie, who's currently running 1:21.915, but looking to try and improve and get a little bit higher up on the time sheet. But it's not going to happen this time around, as Alfie going to invalidate his lap nice and early on in this one. So unfortunately for Alfie, going to have to do another run. And that's one less run he has to really perfect that lap. Michello going to be coming into the pits. Claypa, one of the guys, still need to set a time. PLG as well in the Haas. So the two of them are going to have to set their lap time, get that done immediately. Both of them are behind each other. I would say fairly close to each other. However, no, I don't think there will be any performance impact of them being that close, especially for PLG. And so now it's just a question of who's going to get the better time between the two of them. Ultimately, that is what's going to matter in a race like this. And Haas, I think PLG especially, wants to get a good start here because he could help his teammate here win the championship if he gets a good start. But it's only going to be enough for P9 right now, 1:22.305. Not a bad lap time by any means, but definitely not where he wants to be in an event like this. Especially considering he's going to be looking to try and defend his teammate. However, as of right now, PLG is right where he needs to be, though. He's right near Michello. Although I think he'd rather be beside him rather than behind him in a row. And so, an extra position there would have probably helped matters. And Teo now, looking on a big improvement there. He went up about a tenth and a half. Michello going to make the improvement there up to a 1:21.98. And so now he's gotten past Vic with that time. So now Vic going to have to make an improvement right now. He's ranking a 122. Who's going to show up when it matters here? MKKJR, 122.013. Teo, blistering lap, 121.72. An amazing lap of Abu Dhabi there by Teo. Sets himself up in a good spot here for this round. 13 rounds of action down, 1 round to go. action in all 13? Will there be action in round 14? We'll have to see. But I highly bet there will be, because this is where it could all play out. This is more than where it could all play out. This is where it will play out. And now, rocking down the clock now, 5 minutes away from the qualifying ending and getting us into what will be the race. That point. It's actually going to be Grim coming out. I see something coming out of the pits. It looks to be... No, it's not Grim. It's Tom coming out, sorry. Tom the Alpine actually coming out. So he's at a 1:22.545, looking to make an improvement there on that lap time. Trying to get to the points would be the ideal position to be in into something like this. However, we'll see if that opportunity will come to him. Now, we know good things do come to those who wait, but this is racing, so there is no waiting. Vickwick on an outlap as well. Along a few URL2, they're on outlaps. Grim coming out. Push that's going to come out near the end of the session, especially in that final 2-minute mark. So they want to kind of get through that immediately so that they don't have to worry about that later. And now Tom Porter on his lap, trying to make an improvement here. Gets through Sector 1, does a pretty decent job there, making small improvements on his time. But now he's going to be trying to send it through T2. Now T2, of course, not really much of a set, I should say, because it's basically 2 long straights. However, you do want to try and get as good an exit as you can out of that chicane. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a pretty bad spot coming out of there, because you do not want to be a turtle coming out of the chicane and really, really slowing yourself down. And now comes the Alpine. Vickwick about to start his lap. This is important now. On board with Vickwick. 1:22 flat his time. This is the final lap set. And he's got a little group of cars in front of him too. This could be very annoying to try and get through. He beats that one out the pits. Ferrari gives him... No, he doesn't! Vickwick crashes into the Ferrari! Teo! He's gone into the Haas of Vickwick. What has happened? Vickwick loses any chance to get his lap in. There is no second lap for Vickwick. What a turn of events! Whoa! Well, that just happened. Big wreck there for Vickwick. So that's completely ended any chance he had there making an improvement on his time. That is brutal. That's going to be an annoying one there for the driver trying to beat the defending champion. And Teo going to be getting a 5-place grid penalty, so that 121.72 not going to matter at all now later on in this one. Well, there's a war for you. Quite the threatening action in this one. And so that's a bad situation there if you're Vic, because now you have to just hope that you don't get past too many times. The guys trying to make those minute improvements to their laps. You're kind of just now living on a prayer. Vickwick could lose a lot of positions here, especially if Michelle was to do the work that he needs to do, make a decent improvement, which he looks like he's on pace to do. He's on pace to, it seems, make that decent improvement. And so now, Michello coming through that final sector now. What's it going to be? Final 2 corners now. Down the straight. Is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it will. 121.903, but it's not going to be a massive improvement. However, Richard also going to fall behind. Vickwick losing quite a few positions. Michello also losing some positions. So there's a good chance now that this race could still be close. Being stuck in the midfield is not what you want, but they are. Michello's stuck in P5, Vickwick stuck in P7. They are both stuck in that midfield. Now we're just waiting on Klepa and Solo to get into the pits there. And now Klepa comes across the line. Solo, we're just waiting for his car to get loaded up into the pits, and then we are ready to get started with the action in this event. As for those top free times, look at those. Into the 600s for those top frees. Impressive lap times by those free for sure. So those top free guys. Alfio Free Jones, 121.632, 121.649 for MKKJR, and Jacob, 121.652. The three of them all setting insane lap times and got themselves into that limelight, into that spot to start in the top three. And what do you know? All three of them happen to be on a Constructors Championship contending team. So now it's a question of who's going to come out in front of the Constructors, who's going to be able to take that first place. Now, if Michello does, that will benefit Red Bull heavily if he can make his way through the field. But time will tell. So, let's get started up on this Grand Prix. And what will be a hell of a race. And so now, all 15 cars sorted on this grid. 29 laps. Over 150 kilometers left in the season to decide who will be the champion of HRL. Here we go now. 5 red lights. And we are racing under the floodlights of of Abu Dhabi once more. Alfio Free Jones coming out the line pretty well. Both Red Bulls going side by side. Contact there between Jacob and Michello. Richard there kind of splitting. His teammate more contact, two of them having a bit of a squabble there. Now Jacob making the smart decision there. He's going to try and fight Vickwick to help defend Michello and help him stay in this title challenge. As he's now trying to pick up the pace there, get onto the back of Alfio Free Jones and get into a spot to win this race. And very much set himself up as a four-time HRL champion. Jacob Dell, he's going to be passed by Vickwick. Now tire strategy, a lot on the hards. I think the hards are going to be the favorite here. Try and guess, because I think right now it's going to be a bit of a driver ego battle in a championship like this. How long can you stay out? Are you willing to stay out that extra lap? Are you willing to go in that lap early and try and see if you can get that driver in front of you or get ahead of that driver in front of you? This is going to be a strategic race for sure. And not an easy one by any means. We have a couple on mediums, MKKJR, Grim, SC, URL, and Claypa. They're all the medium runners. Actually, two of them into the pits already. 16 drivers here, in fact, because I think the Mercedes of Lorenzo has just joined. However, again, Claypa going to retire from the session, so his race is done really before it even really started. And so now, we've got Alfio Free Jones holding ahead of Michello right now. This is for P2. MKKJR building some freedom there. That tire advantage showing through with those mediums. The question is, though, he's going to have to go in a considerably earlier, so that pit timing is going to have to be a definitely, I'd say, before halfway point of the race or around the halfway point of the race. As for the hard runners, they're going to be trying to go a little bit longer into the lap 17, 18 range, maybe up to the 20s, and possibly try and move to the softs if you're feeling real confident that the hards will last long enough. But anything can happen in something like this. It is going to be a hell of a race. But right now, it's kind of in its early stages right now. Drivers just trying to feel each other out, feel what they're kind of get into their flow, get into a groove. Don't try anything too risky here in the early laps. And that is the real important part. Do not try anything risky in the early laps. Now, fortunately, Abu Dhabi is a track that does have some pretty long runoff areas in some locations, so you can afford some mistakes without, retiring. However, again, in a race like this, especially with three teams as close as they are and two drivers still fighting for the championship, there's going to be some safety here and some caution taken in these first, I would say, about 20 laps, trying to just keep it nice and clean, keep it nice and calm, and try and find that point in the race where they can start to really push it. My assumption is it'll probably come around everyone's second stint when they change onto their new set of tires. Little group here about for 10th. We got Tom, PLG, SC, and Lorenzo all here fighting from 10th to 13th. Michello coming across for the fastest lap at a 1:25.314 as they're actually picking up MKKJR really fast now. Actually at a really high rate of speed. They have caught up Alfie now onto the back of MKKJR, possibly trying to send it around the outside. The Ferrari trying to do as much as he can to help out his team there. Teo, of course, he's down in P7. He had that 5-place grid penalty after quali, and so his race kind of took an interesting downturn because of it. And now he's going to go side by side. Alfie going to make a mistake on MKKJR. MKKJR now have to try and fight back here. And he'll get a chance to do so in this one. Try and get nice and clean on the throttle. Now he's going to try and open up that DRS. He's right behind Alfie, going to try and get into the section, try and look for an opportunity here to get past. Alfie going to be able to stay ahead, though. Uses the ERS well, and he's going to be able to stay ahead for the most part of the Aston Martin right now, with Michello still chasing him, chasing the two of them. Might be trying to look for an opportunity here where both of these guys make a mistake. Michello, the car behind, you're going to see this action here. Watch where the lines are trying to push out as much as you can, get as close as you can to those white lines in most of these corners. See how aggressive Michello is there. And also by doing nice, securing himself a tiny bit of clean air. Ooh, but he gets a little slide there out. It's the locks up just, I think, 9 Newton feet. He's going to put his car into a slight slide. He's going to be okay. He's going to lose a tiny bit of time of that, though. And if you look in the rearview mirror, you can see Vickwick there. And that's, of course, who Michello is going to be trying to defend, as he's now on the back end of the Aston Martin. Got a bit of a DRS. This tends to be how races at the Aston Arena go. Usually it ends up in a bit of a DRS train for a little bit. You won't really see too much battling until those final laps, when whoever ERS managed better, and of course, whoever did play better strategy starts to shine through. But of course, in the start of the race, tends to be a little more calm and quiet. It's not a race you like to take unnecessary risks in, and especially with some of the hard sectors, aka Sector 3. There really isn't many great overtaking opportunities here, and so for the most part, cars will just stay behind and try and follow each other through. Oh! MKKJR, a slight lag, and also losing the rear end of the car. Michello, he didn't really know how to react to that. And also, Vickwick's lost the position too. Migrating host, has Michello disconnected? Oh, Michello's disconnected. Shit. Oh crap. I don't know, someone invited him back. I hope someone invited him back. Oh, I'm gonna have to invite him back. Build up. Michello right now, losing positions right now due to the, due to being stuck in AI right now. So that's a little problem that's playing out right now. He's gonna have to get back in quick, otherwise he could lose this championship due to that alone. So Vickwick now trying to come down the inside, Ferrari side by side. Both drivers going side by side, slight contact there between the two of them. Vickwick getting ghost though. Quick P4 right now. Lap 7 of 29 now, and I think something is happening. Something bad is happening in the race. Michello has disconnected again. Is the game not allowing him to swap back into his car? If that's the case, this could be absolutely detrimental. This could end his championship reign. Vickwick falling behind the Red Bull driver just a little bit as it phases through the Aston Martin of MKKJR. So now Michello picking up the pace there to try and catch on to the back of Alfie. And the chance may come here real soon as he's right on the back now. DRS open. And he's to the side to make a move. He's still stuck behind. Can he get an opportunity here? Close, very close proximity between the two of them. Will he pull to the side? Michello now trying to send it on the outside. Gonna get the opportunity there. Gets it done nice and beautifully. And up into P1 now goes Michello as he's now trying to secure the championship. What a race this has been so far. Alfio Free Jones behind. SC is actually up in P4 right now, so one of the AlphaTauri is really trying to make a move here in this race, make some big positions. Vickwick behind that P5, and so he's going to have to pick up the pace here, trying to get to the back of the cars, otherwise he's going to find himself at a bad spot, and he needs to get through soon, otherwise this championship could very well be over. It's already looking like it's over for him, but he needs to pick up the pace now. Anything can still happen. And again, pit stops are also coming up around that halfway mark too. A little later than that, I would expect, considering most drivers are on the hard tires. And when those come to play, it's going to change things a little bit. So now the sun's starting to fall, night's starting to fully take rest here in this Grand Prix. Track's starting to darken just that little bit. As it looks to me that Vickwick's kind of struggling a little bit here to keep up with MKKJR and, of course, those cars in front. As S. Christ is going to be trying to now send a move here on Alfie. Alfie in trouble here, possibly of losing another position here. This could jeopardize Ferrari hard in this race. Will a move be made? Will AlphaTauri try and stick that car? Will S. Chris try and stick that car into that place? And he's going to be a little bit slow there on the exit. He lost a bit of time. He's going to have to try and pull that time back in and try and reel in that Ferrari. That's the difference of bad how that chicane can make. I was talking about this in quali, and that right there is exactly what it can do. As he goes through Alfio Free Jones, what is happening? I think about streams bugging. Everyone's just going through everyone. Everyone's going transparent. I definitely think there's an issue with my stream. Right now, MKKJR P4. He's losing that gap though to Vickwick up in front, who just moved up into P3 now and is chasing down the Ferrari himself. He's picking up the pace. That picking up of the pace is important because he knows that gap to Mugello is just going to keep growing as it's grown to 9 seconds now in this one. As Richard will going to be able to make that move now up into P6, gets around Teo, and is now chasing down Jacob in the Red Bull. So let's see, going to make his pit stops. Some pit stops, I'm going to expect pit stops to start coming in soon. People get ready to make those changes off those new tires. Abu Dhabi being a desert track, of course, it's going to be a bit of a tire wear. It's just hot, and of course, you have sectors like sector 3, which is going to be very hard on the tires. Very reliant on mechanical grip there. Very hard corners. And it's a big section of them. It's constant left to right. Heavy on the tires for sure. Especially in the braking points too, because you're going to be doing a lot of trail braking throughout those corners. Alfie now falling further into the crutches of Vickwick. 11 seconds behind Mugello. And Vickwick gets around Alfie. Up into P2 now, but that gap to Mugello has grown exponentially. It's up to 11 seconds now as we're on to lap 13. With that in mind, Alfie Jones going to be losing that gap now immediately. Pace starting to fall off on Ferrari. He just does not have what he's trying to get there. And he's not getting as close as he would like to the Haas of Vickwick. Vickwick, though, I don't think he's able to pick up the pace there and really catch up to Mugello either. He just seems to be on an absolute tear right now. Terrorizing the track and putting down fast lap after fast lap. Way faster than everyone else behind. And he's looking like 2021 Hamilton Verstappen battles, except he's all by himself, where he's basically building up a big gap to the rest of the grid, which means this championship could very well be in his hands by now. I don't really think there's much stopping him at a 12-second gap. Obviously, the pit stop will be a deciding factor. The thing is, he can wait for everyone else's pit stop and go for his pit stop and still be ahead. So for him, I don't think the strategy is going to be too hard. What just happened? What did I just watch? Mateo just slowed down and went to the wall. There's definitely something wrong with this race. Something is not right here at all. Something seems very wrong. This is starting to feel like PC Monaco. And now here comes Vickwick. "14 seconds behind Michello." I don't think he's able to pick up the pace here and really try and get to the challenging point of Michello, which is unfortunate because Michello's just been on fire today, and for Vickwick, this has just been a frustrating race, all things considered. He had the pace, he got held up a little bit by people, and now I don't think he's got that. What? Okay, yeah, no, something's really wrong with the race. Really wrong. Yeah, stream is screwed. Nice. Final race, and we can't even watch it properly. And you can't even watch from Michello's POV because his stuff is broken too. Everything broke. Everything is broken. Everything. Everything is broken. Oh, never mind. Now Michello's back ahead. Michello now into the pits, making the change tires. Again, the leaderboard just not knowing how to be a leaderboard. And EA proving why their games suck. As always, ruining every good thing we try to do. We kind of just have to keep going and hope and pray that it all kind of comes out all right. Yeah, no, we're going to have to end this stream. This is pointless. There's no point in commentating this. I mean, at least they got the safety car right, although it's a lap ahead for some reason. Yeah, no, Can someone re-invite me? I have to leave. It's physically impossible to commentate that. Once again, F123 desync problems coming in. Clutch right now. Desync hitting like a truck. Alright, let's see. Will this fix the gaps? Alright. Alright. Cyclics, is this more realistic to the actual race situation? Is this what it actually looks like? Is this what the actual race looks like now? Is this what the actual scenes on track looks like? Someone tell me. Right now we're behind safety car because I want to at least be able to catch the finale to this Grand Prix if I can't catch everything. Are we gonna have to start? Is it infinite SC? Or are we gonna have to restart the race? Or at least like from pre-SC results or whatever? Like do a 25er? Another 25er? Because yeah, safety car going around again here on lap 20. Might even just be EA servers. I think EA servers are messed up right now. I think they're broken. They've been broken ever since freaking F125 came to Game Pass. They were not ready for that. They were not ready to move 25 to Game Pass. Servers have been screwed since that. They have been so bad since that. I mean, yeah, that stuff's right. I mean, the actual, like, positions are right. So I do think this is the actual race situation. I'm looking at Grim's stream right now. So everything here seems right. So it's just everything else is broken. So are we going to do another lap behind the safety car? Coming through Sector 2, we have the McLaren of URL. Still needing to catch up to the back of this pack. MKKJR leading the field right now. Teo and Alfie behind. Vickwick P4. Michello's actually P8. Which is something to mention, just so we know. So, in fact, the stream that you were watching for like the first 15 laps was completely and utterly wrong. It was not the right race at all. I think when Michello DC'd, it desynced everything. Thankfully, no infinite safety car glitch. MKKJR coming out now, and let's get this race under the road. Alfie behind now, trying to chase down that Ferrari of Vickwick. And now Vickwick gonna try and send it down the inside, and Alfie Free Jones, he needs to put the hammer down now. Lap 21, Michello needs to put the hammer down. Could Vickwick win the championship? Oh, the Ferrari is really lagging. Grimm retires from the session. Something's happened to the Alpine. VSC out. Is that going to make a full safety car? And wow, Teo's lagging really bad. Like, really bad. So Grimm's going to make a big mistake there and retires from the Grand Prix. It looks like it's just going to be a VSC. I don't see a yellow icon on the map, so I do think we are safe from another safety car. However, now, again, more time to save out on tires. And speaking of tires, I might as well check to see what the actual strategies are looking like. So a lot of people on mediums, a couple on the softs, went on nice and early. MKKJR obviously early on the softs, although he's usually pretty strange when it comes to these strategies. He loves to get onto that soft compound a little bit early. Now, he can be a bit of a tire whisperer at times, so he is okay doing that, but we'll see if that's going to have a big effect there near the end of the race as the green flag is back out. Obviously, most people on tires that are about 5 to 7 laps, I would say, sorry, 3 to 7 laps. A lot of medium runners still, a couple soft runners. RRC going to retire from the session. We've had another incident. Or no, he's actually retiring in the pit lane. Never mind. So he's going to retire in the pit lane. Tom going to be getting the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Vickwick trying to pull aside MKKJR here and try and make the overtake nice and early. Vickwick, is he going to be able to get himself into the lead? Vickwick does get himself into the lead. Vickwick now, he's in a perfect position now. All he needs to do now is have a good drive, get out of the DRS zone, and he can put himself in a perfect spot here in this championship. This could be exactly what he needs in this race. Vickwick up into P1. I told you the actual racing action was going to be more interesting. That's why I knew that's why I knew the race was bugged for those first 15 laps. Sorry if my commentary got a little boring there, but I genuinely was asking questions in the Discord to see if the actual race was looking like that, and I had a feeling it definitely wasn't, because knowing HRL, we have close races here, so especially in recent time. Michello having like 12 seconds gap. I know he's a great driver, but I highly doubt that's happening in especially this season of HRL. Anyone having a gap like that. So Vic in a good spot now. Michello. Vic could win if he sets one of fastest lap, which speed route. I'm going to check the fastest laps. Wrong thing. And that's actually Tateo who has the fastest lap. But if Vic gets a fastest lap, so right now, Vic in P1, Michello P7. Right now, if the championship was to end, or the race was to end at this point in these positions, as Michello actually moves up to P6. But anyways, what I was trying to say is, if the race is to end at this point in time, Michello would lose the championship. But, well, yeah, gap is 15 points at the current moment. If the race was to end right now, Michello would lose the championship by 2 points. But Michello now, he's making his way back up. He needs to get around MKKJR. This could very much be a thing. Side by side now, Michello trying to send it around. He does send it around. Michello up into P5 now. The question is, who's got more wins? Because if it ends in this way, they will be tied on points. And then it will be a case of who's got more wins. But now Michello trying to get the other. Sorry, not Michello. MKKJR falling hard behind. Jacob now going to try and pull it around the outside. Jacob gets around up into P6 now. Aston Martin falling far behind. Ferrari, though, in a really good spot, looking to be in the case to win the Constructors right now if these Red Bulls can't pick up the pace and get to those Ferraris. As now, here comes Raffaele, I think that was, trying to make a move on Jacob. Jacob gonna have to play a hell of a battle right now. His job is gonna be trying to stop any car from getting through and challenging Michello. If Michello can't get past, but Michello gets past the AlphaTauri up into P4 now. Michello now is in the winning reins of this championship. Now this is Michello's championship to lose. As he's now picked himself up into P4, Vickwick driving as hard as he can, trying to get into a spot here. But again, it doesn't matter how hard he drives in first position because this championship lies in the hands of Michello and where he finishes right now. Right now for Vickwick, Michello is exactly where he needs to be to win this championship by still 3 points. But now he's going to chase down the other Ferrari here. Jacob, though, has let that AlphaTauri of Richard Wick by, and so he's right behind, too. He's going to try and pick up the pace. Michello now making another overtake, gets around Teo. Up into P3 now, chasing down Alfio Free Jones. He is moving. He is absolutely dead set on this goal of winning the championship, and now he is rushing. He is getting through every position now, and I don't think he wants to just say he beat Vickwick because of points, and because Vickwick, of course, wasn't here for most of the race. He wants to say he beat Vickwick on track, so now he's challenging Vickwick hard, and he really wants to fight this one. Lap 25 of 29. The race is on, and this is action-packed. Forget what you saw those first 15 laps. These final 10 laps are what you really need. And Michello is absolutely flying. Red Bull gives you wings, and you can see those wings spreading from that car right now because he is moving. Now it's trying to set his sights, lock eyes on Alfie, just ahead in that Ferrari. I don't think Michello will be beating Vickwick here on the track. I think Vickwick's done more than enough there to stay away. However, Michello can very much beat Vickwick in the tactical range because he very much is in position to be the HRL World Champion for the 4th time in a row. There's still a few laps left, but Michello is on an absolute fire right now. It does not seem like there is much that Vic can do to stop this one from happening. PLG unfortunately hasn't been too much of a threat in this race, and so in terms of having a teammate that could really defend or make this race hard for Michello, he hasn't had that helper like Michello has in Red Bull. And as for Aston Martin, they've kind of fallen apart too. Bought Raffaele and MKKJR running 6 and 7, and so unfortunately for the two of them, they're gonna, Aston Martin might just lose this Constructors. Scratch that, they will lose this Constructors, and I think it might be going Ferrari this season in HRL, as Alfie and Teo 2-4 with the Red Bulls behind 3-5. It might be going Ferrari for HRL, and it might be going Michello for 4-time Drivers' Championships. But here goes Michello now, down the inside, passing Alfie, and he's going to go up into P2 with that move, but Jacob's going to lose a position to Raffaele. He's going to move up to P5 there. Jacob now trying to stop that Aston from getting any move done. Raffaele gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And right now, if it stands, Red Bull and Ferrari, they're both tied in points, so it's whoever gets more accumulated that wins this one ultimately. And right now, as the positions stand, Red Bull could win the Constructors here too if Michello stays P2 and Jacob stays P5. But I don't think it's going to stay for long. Alfie trying to send that car to the side. He's lost the Drivers' Championship, but he still wants to rub it into Michello's face. And more importantly, he wants to help Ferrari win, as now he's going to drop it down the inside. Now Alfie up into P2. Michello getting chased down. Michello going to be late on the brakes, though. Sends it down the inside. He's going to overrun it, though. He outbrakes himself. Michello now under attack from Teo, who might have a slightly better exit, but not enough top speed there, and not enough acceleration there to catch the Red Bull just yet. Michello trying everything he can now. He wants to also get a Constructors too. A double championship for Red Bull will not hurt any means. But this is where the champions are made. Lap 28 going on to lap 29. Vikwick has had an amazing drive, and he's done well after this restart. But Michello has done enough, as it seems. He's driven a good race, but he's still in this battle between the Ferraris. And it's more a question of if the Ferraris can take the Red Bulls in the Constructors' standings. As Jacob's fallen behind now. And so it really does just rely on if Michello can pass Alfie. If Michello passes Alfie, Red Bull wins the Constructors. If Ferrari stays ahead, Ferrari wins the Constructors. And now the DRS straight. Michello going to have a chance now to try and pull to the side and make a move here on Alfie, staying right behind. He knows exactly what he's looking for, but Alfie's not going to give it to him. Alfie doesn't give it to Michello. Alfie doesn't react. He doesn't defend inside. He knew what Michello wanted, but Michello's going to send it inside here. And this might be the move that decides the Constructors. As this time, Michello makes it stick around the inside of Alfie. Alfie now going to have to chase down Alfie. I don't think going to have an answer, though, in this one. And so I think it's going to be Michello. It is. He's done enough. There's nothing Ferrari can do to catch back on Michello. And Vikwick now rounding the final bends. Oh, sorry, it's not Vikwick. Vikwick rounding the final bend, coming across the line to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But unfortunately, it's going to be Michello who wins the Drivers' Championship. And furthermore, Red Bull are double champions, as that second and fifth gives them 28 points in this race, as opposed to Ferrari's 27 points. So that 28 is the difference between Ferrari and Red Bull, and 1 point splits Ferrari and Red Bull, and that 1 point turns Red Bull into a double championship. Congratulations, Michello. You are a 4-time world champion. Vikwick, unfortunately, ends this season robbed of a championship. And so, Vikwick handed the trophy for winning here in Abu Dhabi, but Michello handed the big trophy for winning the Drivers' Championship. What a race. What a season. Many twists and turns. Some may argue this championship, some may not. But in the end, availability is a charm. And for Michello, he wins Season 4. So, that was your season. Michello, the champion. So, quite the season. Lots of twists and turns, but Michello comes out on top. And so Michello getting that second place was all he needed to make Red Bull double champions, and more importantly, for himself, win the Drivers' Championship. So, it's been a great season. I enjoyed it. Hope y'all did too. It was a fun one, and we'll see you in the meantime, because Season 5 is just around the corner. And will Michello be able to defend his championship a 5th time in a row? Time will tell. But in the meantime, Michello gets to enjoy these celebrations, and Vickwick, unfortunately, it's just too little too late. Alright, so he did more than enough. It's too much, but it's too late. Unfortunately for Vickwick, that work break really killed his championship momentum and championship run. But a valiant effort by him to still stay in the championship after all that in those final 2 races. So, Red Bull, Constructors Champions, Michello, Drivers Champions, and they will be going into that for Season 5, as HRL is signing out for now. Goodbye all of you, and sorry for the buggy stream, as unfortunately we had a desync issue in this race. Maybe we should have restarted, but we fugged it out. Bye for now.